So today we're checking out the NYX Z-1 from Acedeck. So let's start with the deck. It's about 42 inches long, just a little bit over, a few millimeters. The total weight of the board is 20.5 kilos, so that's about 45 pounds. It has a max load limit of 150 kilos or 330 pounds, so it can take a big rider. And the deck shape is, in my opinion, close to perfect. The length and the way each end is almost like a dessert spoon. It just concaves up at the edges and gives you lots of space for your heel and toe to do some nice turns and to really grip onto the board. Now moving downwards, let's look at the wheels. All four wheels are 8-inch. The hubs are CNC milled and just absolutely beautiful. The gearing on the rear is also CNC milled, which goes into that gear drive motor that we'll talk about very soon. And of course, they are attached to the CNC engineered trucks. Now these are 44 centimeters wide, about 17.5 inches. And we obviously have to acknowledge the similarity between these and the LaCroix Hypertrucks. These are obviously inspired by them. They obviously work well. They're world famous, so I can see why these guys have gone for that same design feature. One big positive is it does use the same bushing, so with this particular board, you've got loads of bushing options. Right, so now let's move on to the electronics in the board. Let's start with the battery because this is a big boy. It's 14S5P. It's 21 amp hours, just a little bit over 1,058 watt hours, I think. Maybe it's exactly that. I'll have to check my specs. The ESC that it's running is the same type that is on the X1, so it's in-house designed and built. It's putting out a maximum of 90 amps continuous discharge, so it has a good amount of power. It's certainly not the most powerful. It's not going to compete with your top of the line Vesks, your Stormcores and so on. But for a consumer board, this has got a lot of get up and go, and it's very, very smooth as well. But of course, what do you do with those 90 amps of power? Well, you feed some really big motors. These are the biggest motors that I've ever reviewed on this channel, and they are 6890s. There's a pair of them, they're 130 kV and they're 6,000 watts each. Now that 6,000 watt number is kind of irrelevant because there's no way you're using all of that power with this ESC, but just know that it's there, and if you ever did want to upgrade this board, you could certainly put a lot more power into these motors. And of course, the last thing we should talk about before we go and ride it is the gearbox, the gear drive. Again, this is a first for the channel. This is the first gear drive we've had, and this one looks beautiful. Now the gearing system is helical gearing. The small gear or the drive gear is CNC milled, and the other one is a POM plastic. Now Acedeck have assured me that this is a very, very robust, very, very strong, and they don't think it'll ever wear out. I challenged that and I asked them, well, will it be for sale as a spare part? And it's something that they will look at in the very near future, but they have got so much faith in that POM plastic on that larger gear that they said it won't be necessary. All of their boards that they've been testing for the last 3 or 4 months has shown zero wear. They've had 0 failures, so I guess that's a good sign, but I know once these get out into the public, they're gonna be abused and tested very, very hard. So it'll be very interesting to see how that POM plastic on the larger gear does wear, but for now they have a lot of faith in it. Talking about the gear unit itself, it's beautifully made, again, CNC engineered, and it looks to be sealed very, very well. When you open it up, it's very clean in there, lots of grease, and it just runs whisper quiet, which I'm really impressed about. The last thing before we go and ride, let's just talk about the box really quickly. It comes with a whole host of goodies. You've got some spare bushings in there. It comes fitted with a set of red 85As. There could be 82, I'll put the right number there. I'm having a bit of a mind blank. But it comes with an extra set of white 75As in the box, so if you are a lighter weight rider, you can put those in. I've been riding this for about 4 days. I've put the white set in the front just to get a little bit more carve, a little bit more steering. It also comes with a bag of bolts. It's just pretty much every single bolt you would need on this board. They've chucked a couple of extra spare ones in there. It's got a really nice compact 4 amp charger, and it's got a whole heap of just tools that work with this board. I'm so used to getting random tools that have no place. Every tool that comes in the box is designed to go with this board. But a special mention to their T-tool that they've actually created themselves. It's just beautiful. Like, I know we're here to talk about the skateboard, but the tool that they've supplied with the board for taking off the wheels is just really nice. And the last thing before we go ride that I'm really happy they include in the box is actually 2 spare tires and 2 spare tubes. That's going to keep you up and riding if you do get a flat or when you do wear out those tires from aggressive riding. But that's enough talking. Let's go and put the board to the test. We're going to do some road riding and we're going to do some off-road riding. We're out here at Scribby's Conservation Reserve, I think it's called. There's some mountain bike trails. There's also lots of roads and paths that are sealed. So we'll be able to do both tests and we'll be able to see how it performs. Now, something I should mention straight up, because I know everyone will be typing right now on their keyboards, that thing needs bindings. Yes, it does need bindings. It doesn't come with bindings, and I always like to ride boards as they come out of the box. Now, it does have pre-drilled holes to put bindings on, which is awesome, and I will do a second video with bindings on. I've ordered some really nice MBS ones from Full Send Electric, guys based here in Melbourne who make the Hellcat. Another awesome board which is actually coming to the channel very, very soon. Okay, braking is awesome. Nice brakes. That was pretty fast and it skidded me to a stop. But again, it wasn't out of control. Now, on road, this thing handles really, really well. They claim a 50% plus incline, not incline, and I believe it. This thing has got a lot of power. I'm not in the top speed mode yet, and it's already got a lot of power. Woo, the ground clearance on this thing is spectacular. Obviously having that huge 14S 5P battery on top. Your lowest point is the bottom of that gear drive at the back there. Another thing to talk about is the remote control. So it is the same remote and ESC setup as the X1. Obviously this has a lot more amps, but what that does mean is that it still is all adjustable from the remote control, which is a benefit I really, really liked on the X1, and the Z1 has it as well. So you can adjust your acceleration or your torque, you can adjust your speed, and you can even adjust your braking, all from the remote. You don't need to plug it into a computer or log onto it via Bluetooth through an app. Remote control, and it's really easy. It's like 5 clicks. All right, so I think it's pretty obvious that the Z1, the NXY, I forget the combination. Fun fact about the name, it's actually the name of one of, or the oldest Greek god. It was the only god that Zeus was afraid of. Just a fun fact, I did some Googling on it. So it's obvious it does well on road. It's very fast, it's very enjoyable, it's lots of fun, it's got a whole heap of power. But how does it go off-road? So we're on some paths and tracks. Not serious, because again, I don't have my bindings installed yet. But how does it perform with those gear drives? Woo! Man, it's got some power. Now, these trucks, these are 44 centimeter wide trucks, do a really nice job. Now, I've never been here before, so we're probably just gonna take a little bit slow and get to know our bearings, work out where we are, look at the tracks. But these 200mm wheels do grip really nicely. Something else really nice to show you in the box. This comes not fitted, you have to screw it on yourself. But this is a really nice, again, CNC milled bracket with 2 carbon fiber rods. The thing I really like about these is not the fact that they're there or the carbon fiber, whatever, but you can mount shred lights onto these. You can use the bike handlebar mounts, and you can get some SL 300s on the front here, or SL 1000s if you want, but the 300s I think would suffice. Alright, so we're going to stop here for a quick little break. It's a pretty beautiful part of the park. So we're going to stop here, take a final break, have some water, then we'll keep going. We'll make our way back out of the park and we'll do a kind of SWOT analysis, but it's kind of, I want to wait till I've put the bindings on, I've done a full test and taken this sort of proper off-road. I've still got a couple of things I'll comment about the board because it's near perfect. There's a couple of little small things which aren't deal breakers. This is pretty steep. With added bumps in the middle. Woo, that ground clearance. That's where that ground clearance really comes into play. Oh, getting a bit close down here. Oh, but narrow. Holy Jesus. Didn't realize I crept onto a bike track off the walking track. But yeah, now that they've sort of started to wear in a little bit, they are a bit more carvy, which I'm really happy about because when I first got it out of the box, they were really stiff. Oh man, those are big roots. Like I said before, these 200mm wheels really do roll up and down a lot of things. Like surprisingly how well they can actually climb over some of these things. Oh, not that though. Sorry about all the sound effects. Whew. Going slow. I don't want to whack those gearbox motors too much. I know I've had a couple of really bad bottoms out today. This is where bindings would really help. But the board is still doing remarkably well, considering how tight this is and the amount of bumps and stuff that I'm going over. All the meanwhile, trying to keep an eye out for snakes. Almost at the tree. Oh my God. Yeah, there'll be snakes all through here. And also lots of wallabies. I've seen a few, but they don't stick around. They're pretty wild. They get scared pretty easily. Woo. This is fun. Oh. Oh, there we go. All right, so I don't even know where this track's going, so I might turn around because it feels like it's endless. Board going incredibly well. Like I can't even put into words how much I enjoy the feel of this board. The more I ride it, the more I love it. I'm gonna push stop. I'm gonna find my way out of here and then we'll do a wrap up of the video with a little bit more footage. Here we go. right, so let's end the initial ride and review there of the Z1 from Acedeck. Really, really cool electric skateboard. Beautifully made, beautifully just handles, I'm lost for words. The power that this thing has is just, it's intoxicating. The way it rides, you feel on the edge of out of control, but fully in control. The way it looks, well, it just looks menacing. I've been riding this now for probably 2.5, 3 hours, and we've only lost 1 bar of battery off that 14S 5P battery pack. There were a couple of instances there where I had to get off and walk because the boulders were just too big, like physically too big. I probably could have gone over them with enough speed, but I didn't want to really stuff and scratch and whack up my motors. I did have a couple of knocks, which I'll show you now. The first time I'm looking underneath. Okay, so deck has no damage, which you'd expect, which is great. There are a couple of little scratches there. That's the lowest point. That's exactly where I thought it would hit. What we'll do is, on the next video, we will open this up. We're gonna get one of the guys from the South East, or whatever they're called, the Queensland Eastgate group. There's some really serious DIY guys in there which know a lot more about this type of board than I do. I'm gonna get them to come along. We're gonna meet somewhere, we're gonna open it up, and I'm gonna get their feedback. Let them tell me from their point of view, from a DIYer, what they think of the build quality. But that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for hanging around this long. If you've enjoyed this content, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. We're getting awfully close to that 10,000 sub number. There's gonna be a lot more content coming on this board, so make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out. But that's it. So don't forget, skate safe, wear a helmet, and we'll see you on the next video.
Scotty. Who's Scotty?